What's up, guys? Welcome to a special episode of the Young Guns podcast. The worst kept secret ever has finally come out to the public. Bruce Boudreau has been let go by the Vancouver Canucks. This is not a shock to anyone. This is news that, everyone's been talking about for the past week or so, maybe even 2 weeks. You have to feel bad for Bruce Boudreau, who came in to a very bad situation with the Vancouver Canucks. Last year they had fired Travis Green, they had fired Benning, and they were looking to kind of put a reset or rebuild mode for the Vancouver Canucks, but instead they started winning games because Bruce Boudreau went 32, 15, and 10 in 57 games with the Vancouver Canucks last year after taking over coaching duties. And they, announced that he was going to come back. So he comes back. They re sign JT Miller to this crazy contract. They don't sign Bo Horvat to an extension heading into the season. And that's where a lot of problems were starting. A lot of the drama stemmed from that. How can you sign a quote unquote troublemaker like JT Miller to a long term contract extension, but your captain that was drafted by the Vancouver Canucks, the longest lasting Vancouver player on the current roster, even though he will potentially be traded by the 2023 trade deadline. And that's how you want to, move forward in terms of the new direction of the Vancouver Canucks. So, yeah, Bruce Boudreau having to deal with JT Miller was not fair to him. But they hire Rick Tocchet, who was an assistant coach with the Pittsburgh Penguins for a couple years. If I'm not mistaken, he was there when they won the back-to-back Stanley Cups. And then he got hired as the Arizona Coyotes coach. And, he did a pretty good job. He's a character coach. You could put him in the same category as, a Mike Babcock, or maybe you could put him in the same um, equation situation. Oh my god, can't even speak here. The same um category as John Tortorella. He's not as demanding in terms of what because how he comes out with the media, but he's a character coach essentially. And you know we are going to find out here what his coaching staff is. There was rumors about Sergei Gonchar potentially joining his coaching staff. As you can see right now, people are posting memes about the whole situation, and a lot of people were saying that this was very, very embarrassing in terms of the Vancouver Canucks organization. How is it that this information's leaked while Bruce Boudreau is still under contract and is still the Vancouver Canucks coach? It doesn't make any sense. So every game, imagine this: every game you're heading into the arena, knowing that this could be your very last game coaching your respective team, because you know that there's a replacement coming, and you don't know when it's gonna happen. But you know, him being very emotional in terms of interviews, him kind of making jokes about the whole situation, that he would get fired, saying, um, I hope to see you next time, or if even if there is a next time, a lot of stuff like that. And Rick Tocchet, he's been working for TNT, covering hockey, and now he's back being a coach. So let's take a look at his record right now. So this is Rick Tocchet's coaching record. Um, yeah. So with Tampa Bay in Arizona, that's where he was a head coach. He was an assistant with Pittsburgh, like I was saying before. So in 4 years, the Arizona Coyotes, 290 games coached, 125 wins, 131 losses, and 34 OT losses. So okay, you didn't really hit, point 500, so, that's not great. But I mean, look, it was the Arizona Coyotes. So you can't really, expect too much from Rick Tocchet during that time. 2 years with the Tampa Bay Lightning, 148 games coached, 53 wins, 69 losses, 26 OT losses. Again, doesn't hit point .500. So for his career total, 438 games coached, 178 wins, 200 losses, 60 OT losses. So he's not even a .500 coach. So yes, in terms of his winning record, it's not the best. It's literally not the best. You know, it's kind of scary. But again, considering the situation, who he coached, Arizona for 4 years, that obviously is going to take a hit in terms of your winning percentage. Looking at Bruce Boudreau, there's been rumors that he actually might get hired as the Ottawa Senators coach and that DJ Smith would get fired. I don't know how concrete those rumors are, but looking at Bruce Boudreau, who's been in the league coaching as a head coach since 2007, 2008. We all know him mostly for his time with the Washington Capitals. Okay, so 5 years with the Ducks, 352 games coached, 208 wins, 104 losses, and 40 OT losses. He's above .500, so he has .648. So that's really good. In 5 years, the Washington Capitals, 329 games coached, 201 wins, 88 losses, and 40 OT losses. Again, above .500, so .672. He's a winning coach, according to his stats. With the Minnesota Wild, 4 years, 303 games coached, 158 wins, 110 losses, 35 OT losses, .579. Even with, you know, a bad Minnesota team or an average Minnesota team before they got to where they're at right now, he's still posting numbers above .500. He's a winning coach. 2 years of the Vancouver Canucks, 103 games coached, 50 wins, 40 losses, 13 OT losses, above 500 again, with .549. Despite everything he went through this season, he's still in the winning column in terms of his percentage. Overall career, 1,087 games, 617 wins, 342 losses, 128 OT losses for a total of .626 winning percentage. So again, like I was alluding to before, winning coach. But let's take a look at the Vancouver Canucks currently. They are 27th overall, 39 points in 46 games, 18 wins, 25 losses. So with Rick Tocchet coming in, are they going to start winning games? Are they going to continue to tank? What's going to go on with this team? They're on a 3-game losing streak. I know that Connor Bedard is available first overall. He's the consensus first overall pick in this upcoming 2023 NHL draft. So, do they start liquidating players now? Bo Horvat, Brock Besser, are they going to be moved immediately so they have a higher percentage at drafting Connor Bedard? Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen, but I know that Rick Tocchet, he's not a coach like John Tortorella and Mike Babcock. They're not going to want to, he's not going to want to lose games. He's going to want to come in and start having a culture change. He's want to try to build a winning culture moving forward. So, looking at this right now, you know, I don't really think Vancouver continues to lose as badly as they are, because now things will change for the better. We're hoping. I want to hear what Vancouver Canuck fans are thinking about this coaching change. Are they going to continue to tank, or you're going to start seeing a lot better play from the overall team? Look, honestly, Vancouver on paper, they have a very good team. Defensively, not so great. You have Thatcher Demko, who's out, so they have Spencer Martin and Connor Delia right now. So their goalie situation is not the greatest. But in terms of offense, having Pedersen, having Miller, despite his poor defensive play, Quinn Hughes, Kuzmenko, who's having a great season. Um, Look at the stats right now. Pedersen having a fantastic season, 54 points in 44 games. You have Bo Horvat, who's having, quite a year, if I'm not mistaken, a career year. 30 goals in 46 games, total of 49 points. They're going to get a lot in a trade for Bo Horvat. And probably the asking price is probably very, very, really, really high right now. Quinn Hughes, great season too, 42 points in 42 games. JT Miller, like I was alluding to, Still very good offensively despite poor defensive numbers, minus 16, but he has 41 points in 46 games. Kuzmenko, who there's been talk that he will get a new contract. There's talks that he might actually get traded as well. But honestly, if I'm the Vancouver Canucks, you want to re-sign a guy like Kuzmenko, who came from the KHL to the NHL and is having a fantastic transition year. 41 points in 45 games. Brock Besser, this is where it starts to take a dip now in points. Not having a great season. He's supposed to be an elite sniper, and unfortunately, the numbers are not there. So he's somebody to look out for in terms of a trade. Connor Garland's part of rumors too. He's been scratched a couple of times. Oliver Ekman Larson, he got scratched. He's been part of rumors too, but with his contract, I highly doubt he gets moved. Luke Shen, there's been a lot of talk that he might be moved. Ethan Bear's having a great year with the Vancouver Canucks. Um, After being traded there. Tyler Myers, part of trade rumors as well. Hoglander, that's a big name that a lot of people were not too happy with in terms of his development when Bruce Boudreau got hired. Um, in and out of the lineup, sent to the AHL a couple of times too. We'll see what happens there. Tanner Pearson injured. Riley Stillman, they acquired him um, for Dickinson. We'll see what happens there. If maybe they could trade him too at the deadline. Put goals in as well. Everyone wants to see him be part of the roster full time. Maybe with Rick Tocchet coming in, he could become a full time player, especially if they're going to start moving forwards out by the trade deadline. Travis Dermont, someone they brought in as well. Just look at Jack Rathbone is a prospect that, or a young player that, there was high expectations with as well. And, he didn't get the opportunity to. So maybe if they trade a guy like Luke Shen, they could call up a guy like Jack Rathbone to start playing a lot more minutes and potentially, reach his ceiling in terms of his development. Like I was alluding to before, Thatcher Demko, he's out with an injury, but he was part of trade rumors too at one point. Spencer Martin and Colin Delia are their current goalie tandem. So let's take a couple of questions here in the chat. If you guys have any questions, Boudreau being fired, the way the Canucks treated him speaks volumes about the team. Terrible way to treat someone. Yes, a lot of people were saying that it was a complete disgrace how they managed to deal with this whole situation. How the hell is there so many leaks in terms of this whole situation? How does a coach find out he's being fired a week or 2 weeks before he gets fired and replaced? It doesn't make any sense. So, um, you know, I don't know, man. It was a very weird and sketchy situation that analysts were talking about it. The media, were asking him questions after games, before games. It's really really stressful in terms of a situation here. And it's announced that Adam Foote and Sergei Gonchar have been hired as assistant coach and defensive development coach. So they're part of the coaching staff, and the Canucks um, are gonna have a press conference today, if I'm not mistaken. Let me give me a second. Yeah, okay. Let's take a look here. Canucks make it official. Okay, okay. Um, uh, Well, look, when they hired Patrick Alvin last year as the new general manager replacing Benning, people thought, things were going to change for the better. And unfortunately, it seems like they haven't. They haven't changed for the better. And, I don't know how you hire your coach and, that happens. you know, they were in winning ways last year. And unfortunately, you know, things took a nosedive this season. On paper, like I was alluding to before, you would think that this team was a competitive team and they were going to compete for a playoff spot. I even had them making the wild card spot this year, and they're far from it. So Vancouver posting a little post here. Your dedication and passion for the game have created a lasting impact on the Vancouver Canucks and our community. Thank you, Bruce. Well, people calling out the Vancouver Canucks not really happy with the whole situation. But yes, there's rumors about Bo Horvat, being traded to Boston, and they want Fabian Lysell a part of the package. That's something to talk about as well. So this team's gonna have a really busy trade deadline moving forward. A huge culture change with Rick Tocchet and the new coaching staff moving forward and Bruce Boudreau being fired. Um, yeah, a lot of talk about that right now. A lot of talk. But let's see what else is going on with the situation because I'm pretty curious. But guys, if you have any questions, make sure to ask them in the comment section so we could post them up. So, yeah, there was a meeting this morning with Bruce Boudreau at 9:30 in the morning, and that's where it happened, where they fired him. Unfortunately, there was a lot of you know, anxiety caused towards the coach as well. What his wife always calling him and saying, "Where are you? I didn't see you on the ice. Everyone's talking about, you being fired and stuff." And, his wife was worried too. It's not fun to see. And I know there was a lot of chants at the at the Vancouver Canucks arena. Bruce, there it is. Bruce, there it is. I remember when they were winning a lot of games last year when they hired him and they went on a winning streak. That was the chant. And this year, there was a different context behind the chant. So, when they were chanting Bruce, there it is, it's because that was a way of supporting their coach because they felt bad how the Vancouver Canucks organization was essentially, dealing with Bruce Boudreau being potentially fired in the coming days. So as you can see right here, you know, this is the last game he coached, which was yesterday, a 4-2 loss against the Edmonton Oilers. Very classy coach, a very lovable guy. Yeah, tears coming from his eyes. It's very, very sad. There you go. We stand with Bruce. Standing ovation for a coach. That's, amazing to see. So yeah, everyone's reporting right now that he did get fired. Gravitat actually posted something quite interesting here. Whether or not they can afford him, if I'm the Ottawa Senators, I'm doing everything in my power to bring Bruce Boudreau at some point. Well, they need a new owner too. So before they fire the coach, I would highly recommend that they go look for an owner and announce that, so then they can make the necessary changes moving forward. I can honestly say that in my 15 years covering the NHL, I have never seen anything like this Bruce Boudreau fiasco. I have no clue how any organization, even one as apparently as dysfunctional as the Canucks, could operate this way. The cruelty of it aside, it's just so ridiculous. A lot of hate towards the Vancouver Canucks organization. Yeah, it's sad, essentially. Very, very sad. I don't Yeah. So Bruce Boudreau said his goodbyes to players post game, thanked them for working hard for him, and wished them luck. Bruce Boudreau and his staff enjoying a cold beverage in office. Players came in one by one to shake his hand. Yet but he got fired this morning. But that was reported 11 hours ago. Look, very emotional. Media, like I was saying before, coming up to him, asking him questions. Very, very sad. Yeah, but we'll see what happens in terms of Rick Tocchet, moving forward. I'm very, very interested to see what he does for the Vancouver Canucks. People are saying that Bruce Boudreau should replace Rick Tocchet on the TNT panel. That would be funny. Yeah, just a lot of articles right now talking about him being relieved from his duties, but it's a very unfortunate and very disgusting and embarrassing way to get rid of a coach. Um, so, I mean, I would like to hear your thoughts on this whole situation. Are you really happy with Bruce Boudreau being fired? Was this the best way to do it? Um, Make sure to write down in the comment section below. But guys, thank you so much for tuning into this special episode. Not so special when a coach gets fired. It's never nice to see. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to your channel if you haven't already, and we'll answer any questions after this video once it's posted. So, guys, we'll see you on the next episode of the Young Guns podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in.